Hello, I am happy to be putting out this video that is introducing Pedro Alvarez as the newest seminarian for Christ the King. Some of you may be aware, especially if you were at the noon mass on Sunday, he officially signed as a seminarian for the diocese on Saturday night at our annual Taste of Faith fundraiser for vocations. And then he served at mass to be introduced to at least some of our community there that day. And so now I'm happy to create this recording so that everyone in the parish can see who he is and hear a little bit about him, and then know the face with the name as we start to pray for him among our other seminarians every Sunday in our petitions. Pedro, welcome. We are very happy to have you. Congratulations. I know I can speak on behalf of the parish to say that we're looking forward to praying for you and seeing how God works in your journey. So to get to know you a little bit, let people know about your story, why don't you tell us first of all about your family here in Little Rock?
Well, okay. Well, thank you very much for inviting me. It's good to be here. Well, my family, let me see, we've been members of Christ the King for as long as I can remember. My family originally lived in Hot Springs. My three older sisters were born over there. And then by the time my younger sister and I were born, we moved down here to Little Rock. So I was born in Baptist Health, I believe. And my parents enrolled me in school here, my siblings as well. I grew up in this parish. I graduated from 8th grade in 2015, and then I went off to Catholic High. I graduated in 2019, went off to college, and well, about 2.5 years later, maybe 3 years later, here I am in seminary. But my parents are Mexican immigrants. Let me see, my dad moved here in, I think, somewhere around early 1980s. He was like 17 when he moved over here. He was originally only coming over here for about a year with his brother to pay off a debt that his dad owed. And so they liked it over here and they stayed. They eventually brought all their brothers over. They were all legalized. They started their families over here. They started their own businesses. And well, my family's business is the restaurant business. So my uncles own the La Haciendas. My dad helped open those. My dad then left the group and he decided to put his own restaurants. He closed them eventually. But here we are. We're still members of Christ the King. We've been very blessed. The previous pastor, Monsignor Ballone, was very generous to us. He was very helpful. So we've had a firsthand experience of the great generosity of Christ the King.
Okay. Yeah, well, tell us some names there of your parents and your siblings so people know who they are. They can pray for them as well.
Okay. Well, my dad's name is Juan Manuel Alvarez, and my mom's name is Maria Alejandra Alvarez. She prefers Alejandra. I have three older sisters, Myra, Carla, Monica, and then one younger sister, Sarah. Myra, the oldest, she's married. She has two children, and there's another one on the way. And well, yeah, we're a growing family, but she's the only one.
That's exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So are your siblings around Christ the King still too, or did they move on as they became adults?
They moved on as they became adults. I think one of them is starting to go back, but it's more for convenience rather than it's closer, you know.
Well,
But yeah, one of them helps with youth ministry in St. Edward's. The other one isn't. The middle one, no, the third one isn't as involved in the church. She's busy with her own life. The older one is very involved in the pro-life movement. I think she's done some work with Christ the King. I'm not sure.
okay.
But,
So people may have run across your family in various places then over the years. Huh?
yes.
Yeah. So you said you went to Christ the King School, and we're going to send out this video through our school channels as well as parish channels. So can you remember of any of the best stories of your days at Christ the King? Anything that stands out from your time there?
Well, a lot of things stand out. The teachers were great, and I'll die saying that. And of course, I didn't appreciate that while I was there. I wasn't exactly one of the best students. I was more often than not a pain in the butt. But one of the things I sincerely thank God for is all the patience my teachers had with me.
You can apologize to him right here if you want.
Teachers from Christ the King, and that's a great idea. Teachers from Christ the King, I just want to apologize for the big pain in the butt I was back in whenever I went to school there in elementary at CTK. I'm very sorry, but I'm also very thankful for your patience and everything you showed me, because what you showed me, I carried on to high school, and from high school to college, and eventually it helped me grow as a man. But it all had a firm foundation there at Christ the King. So every single teacher, thank you so much. Your efforts were worth it. Um, any outstanding stories? Not that I can think of, really. A lot of times things are a blur.
They're a blur for you. Okay,
Yeah,
that's good.
yeah,
Well, so I'm glad that it had the impact that they want, and I'm sure they'll be grateful to hear that, because that the chance to hear how their effort with students bears fruit in people's lives as they become adult is always a great joy in the school, and success in various ways that we've been able to witness, and in a particular way, our prayers for the many young men who have gone into the seminary, and many of whom are priests now. So the school will be praying for you. We'll get posters out to everybody with your picture on it now, so they can all be involved in that prayer for you. So you mentioned that you went off to college, and I think you went to UCA, right?
that's right.
So,
Yeah.
so you finished 1 year at UCA.
Yes, I did.
So
My major was political science. I loved it, but after a while, I loved the priesthood more.
yeah, so go ahead and tell us then about a version of that story, how you felt God's call and decided to respond.
Okay. Well, let me see. My junior year in high school at Catholic High, um, it was almost a tradition that the graduating class sent off a guy to seminary, and I'm sure they didn't intend to. It just happened. Well, my junior year, I think it was Thomas DePrez whom they sent, and we were all at the gym. The entire school was in the gym, witnessing the signing ceremony. It was beautiful. He signed his life away. I thought it was kind of terrifying. Then the bishop gets up and gives a speech, and well, it's the basic things that I mean you'd expect to hear uh, for an audience of a whole bunch of single young men. Open your hearts, stay open to God's call. Maybe some of you are called to be a priest, yada yada yada. And when I heard that speech, I was just shaken to the bone. I mean, I couldn't take it. It was terrifying. And from that day on till about mid-second semester at UCA, I was fighting God's call to the priesthood. It was a terrifying time. It was a dark time, um, but also a very beautiful time. A lot of growth and a lot of self-denial, because in that 2.5 year period, I had to start letting go of some things just because I couldn't um, really put up a good fight with God, to put it in those words. So I graduate high school. I'm running away from this call. And while I'm running away, well, I start to plan in my own future. And so when I get to college, I mean, just the liberty of being able to create my own future, the feeling of all of that was inebriating. And so that made it a lot harder for me to accept God's call, but He was still there nonetheless. And so I decided to major in political science. I noticed that it was a subject that I was attracted to. Anything that had to do with government or politics, I was usually very attentive to. And to me, it seemed fascinating. So I get there my first semester, pick my classes, everything goes great. Second semester, I pick my classes again, everything goes great. But by mid second semester, I'm already starting to get tired. It's been 2.5 years of just fighting God's call, and I am worn out. So one morning, I'm scrubbing my teeth. Uh, I tell God, okay, Lord, I know I've told you this many times already, but all I need is one more sign, and I'll accept your call to the priesthood. I'll do something to get closer to that. So I lived in Little Rock, so I drove to and from Conway every day. So it's about a 30-minute drive. And so in that time period, I listened to Ignatian spirituality meditation app that I had on my phone. It's called Rezando Voy. It was great. It's phenomenal. It's really good. And so it's basically praying with the scriptures. And on my way over there, I mean, I'm just waiting for a sign because I know it's going to come. And the scriptures read that day weren't even had nothing to do with vocations, had nothing to do with the priesthood. It was about a man who his son was possessed or was sick, and he'd taken him to the apostles. He'd probably taken him to some other people he shouldn't have, and nobody could cure him until he finally takes him to Jesus. And while I related to the anxiety, the pressure he felt, of course, while you're praying with the scriptures, there's a lectern or a guide in the app who's telling you kind of where to go or what to look for. And so she was pointing out a lot of the anxiety, possible depression, the pressure he felt. And so I immediately related to that. And I was like, okay, Lord, that's enough. That's enough to push me over. And so I start crying in the car. I get to my first class. I wipe my tears. I get off the car. I walk in. I have no idea what happened in that class because I was so focused on thinking about this. I was like, oh my gosh, now I actually have to do something because I consider this a sign. So I walk out. By the time my class is over, I take a stroll to the library. And on my way over there, I'm saying, well, Lord, there's still time for like divine intervention. Please send something to keep me from going down this path. Well, nothing happened. I get to the UCA library. I get a little private study room because I knew there were going to be tears. I open my laptop and I look up how to become a Jesuit seminarian. Now, for those of you who know, the terminology might be a bit off, but I didn't know any better at that point in my life. So I find this video called Extraordinary Lives. And I don't know, it was maybe about 15 minutes long. Can't remember exactly, but I'm watching this video and my heart just melts and I feel this peace that I hadn't felt in 2 years, this peace and this joy and this longing to be with that community of men studying for the priesthood. And well, back then I didn't know about the beauties of the priesthood as I do now, and I'm sure I still have a lot to learn and to find out. But that was enough to just tip me over. And I went from the point of complete denial, all in one day, complete denial, kind of longing to full longing. And at that point, I was like, where have you been all my life? This is what I was made to do. This is what I was called to do. And so I'm just like crying my eyes out in this private study room. And well, I'm trying not to like make any noise. And so I shut my laptop, I wipe my tears as best as I can, pack up, head outside. And I mean, the only person I knew to call was a friend who's a seminarian in Mexico, whom I had met in my previous trip, my previous vacation. So pull out my phone and I call him and I'm like, hey, he's like, hello, how you doing? Nothing much. I think God's calling me to the priesthood. And he was like, well, okay. How does your heart feel about that? And well, I just tell him exactly what I'm telling y'all now. And of course I start crying again. This time I'm like far away from like people. I'm like at a little fountain. I was at UCA. It was alone. Thank goodness. And so I'm just telling him kind of my life story. And he gave me some very basic advice and we said goodbye. I went and I met my cousin for lunch and I think I broke the news to him and I told him not to tell anyone and he didn't, thank goodness. But after that, I took a year off from college just to get some things straight in my life. And now here I am at the end of that year I took off. I just entered seminary. I signed officially last Saturday. So it's been a beautiful time so far.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Oh, fantastic. And the Taste of Faith dinner where you signed was good. You were surrounded by a lot of the families of the other seminarians, but then an online audience that got to see you do that too. And you got to see the support of so many people, but both financially supporting where you're going and prayerfully supporting that. So it's exciting for everybody. So tell us now what's next. So you're officially signed. You're going to continue schooling. So tell us about that a little bit.
Well, yeah. I'm going to be at the House of Formation, which is here in Little Rock. I'm going to go into first philosophy. So since I only went 1 year to UCA, I still have to get some prereqs out of the way. I think I only had 11 credit hours left of my prereqs. So I get those out of the way, and I start working toward my degree in philosophy while living in community with other seminarians there at the House of Formation. After that, I am sent off to San Antonio. At least that's what it's looking like for now. So that's 4 years from now. And I will work on my degree in theology. I believe it's actually a master's. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But here at the house, I will get my philosophy degree from Newman University in Wichita, Kansas. So I'm really looking forward to that. I haven't been in school for a year.
Okay.
So
Well,
I'm
and you'll be
pretty
taking
excited
some of
about it.
those prerequisites at UALR, right? So
Yeah.
the House of Formation,
Yes.
you'll take some prerequisites at UALR, and then the classes through Newman University, some of which are taught online, but many of them, the philosophy in particular, are taught by our own Father Taryn Whittington. So Father Taryn will be one of your teachers. I don't know if you'll have him this semester, but you'll have him a lot over your years at the House of Formation.
Yeah, I really look forward to it. He's a pretty funny guy. He's pretty
Yeah,
smart.
yeah. Very smart. Well, very good then. I think that gives people the basics of your story and the introduction to who you are, and we'll be able to see that progress as it happens over the coming years. And with you being at the House of Formation and still in Little Rock, you'll probably still be coming into contact with Christ the King parishioners. And
Oh, yeah.
I know your responsibilities are primarily at the House of Formation, but maybe from time to time we'll be able to have you serving some more at Mass, and as you make progress, we'll be there with you all the way. So
Absolutely.
God bless you, and be sure of our prayers, and we look forward to praying with you in the years ahead.
Thank you so much, Father. That's very nice. It's great to know that I have the support of my entire community, and of course of you, the pastor. It's really great. Thank you so much.
Well, congratulations.